Okami Martial Arts and Fitness in Uxbridge. Look no further for day and evening martial art and fitness classes. You can get all the information that you need on their website, okamikai.com. That's okamikai.com. I look no further and I listen no further because they're here right now. It is Scott Campsall and Jennifer Nephew from Okami Kai Karate. There you are. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we are talking about, what was that?
Well, I would just say, you're saying we're here, but we're here. You're there.
Oh, that's true. Are we getting Zen here? Are we going Zen here?
Yeah, just so you don't get the phone calls and yeah.
Oh, okay.
They were here? No.
Oh, yes. Okay. No, I thought maybe you're going Zen and we're getting deep here or something. Like, are we all here? You know, is anybody here? Is this just
not
an illusion?
Not this early? No.
No, I was going to say thank you. Haven't had that second coffee and you're going to lose me real early on that one. Yeah.
No, not this early.
Now, here's the thing. We've been talking about this because can you believe it's been a full year, the pandemic? And that what you've been through as a business, as a parent, and you also as a student, that this has been a full year that this has been going on.
It's only been a year?
Yes, the 1 year that feels like three.
Yeah, and different seasons and different colors. We like red, orange, lockdown.
Yeah. I know that has tested us in figuring out what colors mean. That's for sure. I get confused now when I'm at a stoplight, going, "Wait a minute, it says green. I think that's still good, right? And red, that's I can't move, or I don't know."
I'm already twitching over the thought of the fall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm an orange, so there you go. Well, listen, I'm wondering, we talk about the fact that it has been a complete year, and obviously at one point your business was shut down completely. Then you went online. Now it's kind of modified. You got both going. Have the kids, have the adults, have the people who come through the door changed in that year in the way that you instruct them?
Yeah. The way I instruct them, absolutely.
Well, I mean, other than the obvious, which would be virtual, as far as attention or things like that.
You know what? It depends on the phase. I think everybody's getting their good days and their bad days. We get them emotionally just as much as anybody else. And you see, there's some kids that are, especially when we were in lockdown, that's when I noticed it the most. When we were in total lockdown and the schools were closed, the kids were zoomed out. So by the time I got them, there was one thing where you could just see that their energy of being on a screen all day, it was depleting. And the only benefit that I could say that we had was we were keeping them physical as opposed to them just sitting and learning. So that's probably, if I was going to pick the biggest change, that was it.
And I imagine it's a similar situation for you, Jennifer.
For my music studio, you mean?
Yeah, dealing with students. Do you find that they're a little more focused now and maybe had zoomed out during that lockdown?
Yeah, but even now, I find that the students, when they do have to be online, whether it's because of an alphabetical restriction in the dojo or because they themselves have been put into a quarantine for whatever exposure reason. It's just the energy level is, I find, just generally all around starting to drop again now.
Right. And so we try and pick it up again. And it's interesting. I talked about this on the air, that they've done some studies and they say the actual Zoom aspect of what you're doing is not something we are used to, because I can go to a meeting and you could have 20 people sitting there and you're at the table. So you're there as part of a group of 20. But on Zoom, you're there of a group of 20 or whatever number, but those people are staring at you, or at least that is the feeling, that everybody is staring at you, which is totally different than if you're sitting at a table or you're in a room full of people. Once in a while you're going to get glances and people looking at you. And if you are talking at that moment, they are all looking at you. But with a Zoom call, there's no break. You always feel like somebody is watching you, which is interesting in some aspects in the fact that you are teaching. And I'm wondering, as a teacher, is that a plus, or does it affect you at all? Or do you feel like you maybe do have more control that way?
There's tangents. Like going back to what you're saying about feeling like people are looking at you all the time. We had a little guy when we first went on Zoom, and he didn't understand what really was happening, and so he was doing karate in his house, and he thought that everybody was watching him because he was on a camera and he was on TV, and so it sort of stressed him out when he left the house. He was sort of wondering who had seen him. No, and our students are so engaged in what they're doing, they probably weren't really paying attention to him at all.
Right.
So there's that. I find there's a bit of a stress with it that comes, like you don't know when somebody's looking at you or when they're not looking at you, and then you got to worry about your mic and whether you're going to be able to be heard when it's your turn to talk, and like just from my own classes. But even you and I, when we're doing what we do. Like when we were in the studio, it was easier just to even banter back and forth. Like I could see your physical cues when you're about to talk and stuff like that. Like I've noticed even when we do these segments that there's times we're interrupting each other because we can't see that the other person's ready to go and say something.
Right, which I guess the visual for a Zoom, but then again, like you say, you always feel like you're on, like somebody's watching every minute of the time. So what we want to talk about is some techniques that you guys use in making sure the kids are engaged. And the thought when we were talking about this is that it's probably a transferable skill. So it could be the physical right now and something that you guys use, but also engaging kids in their school or in everyday life. And there are actually some techniques. So I don't know where you want to start with that and what ways, maybe just, how do you engage right away when you're starting off a class? Because anybody who's coached or been an instructor knows if you don't have that control at the beginning, good luck in the rest of that class.
Yeah, we've got different facets that we try to apply to our classes, and definitely with interacting with kids. One of the things that we really strive on is connection. So even just sometimes, like I taught a seminar years ago in Kingston once, and I just had the kids all sit down on the floor, but I sat down with them while I was talking to them and teaching them. And I had a parent that said that she'd never seen an instructor do that before. But I had all the kids engaged. It was just that I was on their eye level. And so something like that makes a difference. Saying a child's name over and over again, just so that they know that you're talking to them. I find that some instructors, they sort of talk almost, I don't want to say baby language, but almost talk down to the child. And I find I get a lot better reaction if I'm talking to them like a human being and I'm giving them some kind of respect. But the other thing is during a class, I wish I could say that I came up with this phrase, but it was a friend of mine, and she used the word edutainment. And I don't even know if she actually came up with it now, but we try to do as much as we can to try to engage the students while they're in their class. So we'll try to do a competitive nature with them. Like we know that, especially siblings, if I can go and I can get them to compete with each other as far as how they're going to do a drill or how well they're going to do it. And so we translate that at home. Like I remember my son when he was really little, and he wasn't exactly a dawdler, but when we had to go someplace, I would basically say to him, okay, we're going to have a race. Let's see how fast you can get dressed, like kind of thing. And so, how fast can you get ready to go to school or something like that. And you can time them, but, we actually used to I'd play like I was competing against him. And like competition's a thing. Just trying to put on, like, let's look at how popular Sesame Street is. Like, if you're going to pick the show that probably taught most of us at the beginning before it was school, it was something that was entertaining and engaging.
Right, and in short bursts, right? Yeah,
exactly. And that's the one thing where I find the really good teachers are the ones that can actually sort of gauge the timing in their class. So if you get your students doing a drill, that's one thing. If it goes a little too long and you can see that the students are getting bored, you got to switch it up.
Similar situation for you, Jennifer, in teaching the fitness classes and or the music?
Well, it's all part and parcel. And I was going to add to what Scott was saying was routine is really important with students. So I not only with our little ones, our little dragons, for example, I've been teaching fitness classes for an outreach group that works with teenage and adult members who have developmental disabilities. And it's really interesting because I would start playing some of the same games we would play with our karate kids. And I went to sign off on a class the other day. We reached the end of the class, and we cooled down, and we stretched, and I said goodbye. And when one of the guys called me out, and he said, no, what about scavenger hunt? And I said, oh, okay, sure. And I neglected to realize that because I had played that game 3 times in a row with them, that they expected that needed to happen again. And so the importance of patterning and something predictable is really important that they can hone into and feel empowered with. So even with our karate, when we have our bowing on and bowing off, they start to understand what the role is and how important that is, and they enjoy that level of repetition.
Well, I guess in some ways, too, a social cue, right? Because you say the bowing, it's like, oh, it's official, it's over. Well,
it's a social cue in that they realize there's now part of something bigger than themselves. And I'll specifically let's focus on our little dragons. We have a sticker chart that happens at the end of class, and when they get to 10 stickers, then they get a prize. And stickers are for attendance or for really good behavior. It's a motivational sticker chart, like an incentive chart. But if they don't actually complete the end of the class properly with their bow, they don't get their sticker. So they might have done a great class, but they have to complete it. They can't just, let her all go at the end. So with the little ones, we'll hold the bow until they understand that they actually need to be able to participate right to the end. And it only takes 1 or 2 instances of, oh, I'm not doing the right thing, before they actually realize that the patterning is something that is really important for them too.
Well, let's just wrap up. Those are great techniques. And I think as we were talking before we started, that this is something that's transferable in many different ways, goal setting, et cetera, et cetera. I just want to wrap up by going back to something we talked about earlier, the energy, and you notice that is flagging. What do you do? I mean, you guys are going to be going into classes this week. You're also heading into a long weekend. What do you do when you know that energy is going to be flagging? Do you just totally change everything up, and that kind of, as much as we talk about routine, throws things off, so then that actually kind of interjects a bit of energy?
What I would try to do is I want to strive on attunement. So we've got certain students that I just know are going to act a certain way in a certain situation. So, for example, we got one little guy that I know when he logs on to Zoom that he's going to have his mic on and he's going to want to say hi to everybody and he's going to want to talk. And I got a couple of those. But it's knowing that that's going to happen. So there's, you could basically prepare it and get ready and turn mics off so that nobody can talk. But the one thing that I sort of let him do in particular is I let him do it. I just know that he's going to do it, so I'm prepared for it, and I let him get it out of his system, and then we do our class. But that could go on any level. Like attunement's a big thing. If you know your child's going to need an extra little bit of time before they go to school, or to chill out, or you just know that little area is going to stress them out, or then prepare for it. If you know that getting ready for bed is going to be an arduous process, then prepare for it. But you got to know that, and you got to start watching your child and be aware of what's going on. And I think the same thing's happening with us as far as our classes. We have a gauge on. I can tell you when it's getting close to Christmas, Dan, those kids are going to be majorly hyper, and it doesn't matter whether they're online or whether they're in school. So with us, I'm attuned to that enough that our classes are high energy around that time of year. It's just being aware of who you're teaching and how you're teaching it.
Right. Well, guys, great tips, and wish you guys both the best of the Easter holiday. I'm not sure how much chocolate's involved, or hey, you have to have some cheat days, right?
There's got to be some.
Yeah.
Everything in moderation, but I don't know how moderate it'll be, but yeah.
That's the problem. Is it starts out moderate, and then suddenly it's the train's rolling pretty good, and we're going down a hill.
It's like you're practically here.
Yeah, it's Tuesday, and boy, I'm going to have to double up on my classes just to get some of this off. But no, I do appreciate it. There's some great tips there for parents, and as we said, transferable skills as well in what can be a difficult time with kids and trying to keep them focused. If somebody is interested in any of the programs, how can they get a hold of you?
They can email us, Or they can check out our website. That's probably the best, okamikai.com. They can give us a call, 905-852-1521, and they can find us on Facebook as well. We're both very findable and messageable and Googleable.
Googleable.
I just wanted to say the word.
I like that. If that's a made-up word, it's a good one. That's got to go in the dictionary. It's definitely Googleable. Yes. Well, and I do like to say the name of the business, Okami Kai Karate as well.
Nobody does it like you.
Well, no, and now you know what? I can not do it that way. So that's just the way it goes. Yes. Guys, thanks for your time and have a great Easter.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That is Scott Campsall and Jennifer Neveu from Okami Kai Karate.